Hey guys, Josh here with Overland AZ. We are down in Tucson at Sonoran Expedition Collective to install our Long Range America gas tank. In a couple weeks, we have a 2.5 week long trip coming up, and that's really the motivation for doing this right now. So we're super excited to have this tank for that trip. We're gonna be heading through Utah, Idaho, Arizona, of course, and it's gonna give us a really good long-term chance to test this out, and we'll do a full long-term review after that trip. We got the Long Range America tank actually bedlined by Yachty Bedliners. I dropped this off with Ken over at Turtleback Trailers last week, who took it over to his Yachty shop, and super happy with how this turned out. Partially wanted to do this to protect it. Underneath the vehicle with sticky mud tires, it's gonna be getting pelted with rocks. Obviously, if we hit some big rocks off-road, this isn't really gonna do anything, but it's gonna make the look a little bit more discreet. The tank is silver as it comes out of the box, so it's a little bit more discreet, and it should protect it just from normal road rash and rocks kicking up at it. Over here we have all the contents of the kit laid out on the table. So we have some heat shields, plumbing for fuel lines, electric fuel pump, our new switch. We have some really good directions here from Long Range America. This is not Brian's first time doing this. He's done a handful of these in the past. I'm super excited to be here because I'm gonna be involved in the install. And that means if we do have any issues down the road while we're on a trip, I have a good understanding of how this kit's installed, all the workings of it, and hopefully something that I can fix on my own. Brian?
Hey guys.
Brian is the owner of
Sonoran Expedition Collective here in Tucson, Arizona.
Awesome. And what prompted you to start the shop here?
You know, I'm really passionate about the hobby, and I need a space to do not only my own personal projects, but I have a lot of people who've asked me to do stuff in the past. So I had the idea for a few years and decided to actually pull the trigger about 9 or 10 months ago. And, yeah, it's been going well.
Cool. Well, very good. Thanks for having us down here to get this install done. Super excited to have it for our trip. The first thing we're going to do is get the vehicle lifted up. We're going to remove this tire, pull off the fender and the trim, and everything for probably the first half of the install is just removing all of the old fuel lines and everything that runs on this passenger side to make room for all the new stuff. There's a 13mm bolt on a bracket here that sits right above the strut mount. Now, the problem that you'll run into is that bolt is longer than the space that you have here. I don't know if that bolt's put in before the body's dropped on the frame or what from the factory. What we're gonna do, we don't need that bolt. We'll get this as loose as we can, and we're gonna take a Sawzall and just cut that bolt out. The next thing that we do is get the fuel pocket out. Now, on the fuel pocket, it helps to remove the tail lamp, and you'll be able to release 2 of the clips that you can see here from the back on this side. And then for the other side, there's gonna be 2 right here. Just get a non-marring trim removal tool, and you can wedge this in here to release those clips and get your fuel pocket out. The next thing we're doing here is installing the 2 heat shields. All right, we got heat shields mounted on the exhaust. Brian's just dropping down the evap canister right now. We have the evap canister out of the way on the new bracket. Brian is getting the factory fuel lines off of the factory fuel tank. Okay, so we're at the point now where we're gonna remove the filler neck assembly, and we don't reuse the factory filler neck, so we're gonna make a cut right here. That's gonna allow us to move everything forward of this, out through the front, and then everything back here, out through the tail lamp pocket. Brian is under here marking for the new evap canister location. So it uses one existing mounting point and then 4 self-tapping screws. So we're just making marks on the body for where those self-tappers are going to go. Brian's taking a business call right now, so just came out to take a quick look at his Jeep Wrangler, and he actually has a Long Range America tank installed on his. This was one of the first ones he installed. We're making some really good progress on our Long Range America tank install, so now we're taking a quick break. Checking out Brian's new electric bike.
You want one now, right?
Definitely want one now. Brian's working on some of the plumbing here for the filler neck. And inside, I'm working on mounting the switch. So I opted to have it right here. Focus. The switch shows you anywhere from empty to full, just like your factory tank does, with a half mark in the middle, and it's just an easy on-off to operate the pump. So we're gonna mount this right here. We'll run the wiring harness down and out the body under the seat to go back to the new tank. Okay, we're making some progress. Brian's got the fuel pocket back in, tightening down the filler neck. We have our switch mounted, running the wiring right now. I just ran through the firewall here and connecting it to my S-Pod for power and ground. We have our wire that's going to run to the electric pump, ran through a body plug, and we'll be wiring up the pump here shortly and getting the tank mounted up. Okay, we're back over at the tank. There's 2 barb fittings that you install on the top of the tank here, and then the directions call for putting a magnet into the bottom of the tank that they supply, and you can either try to drop it in through this tube here, or you can pull the sending unit off and have a little bit more room. That's what we opted to do, and we're gonna drop the magnet right in there.
Woo, okay. Boom.
All right, so we have the tank lifted into position, being held up by the jack right now. We have 1 bolt tightened in to hold everything in place. We're just getting our clearances with the heat shields for the exhaust. And now that that front bolt's tightened down, we can go around and mark for the other mounting points. I believe there's, 3 more mounting points?
Yeah.
So for the other 3 mounting points, we can mark where we're gonna need to drill to place those bolts and hold the tank permanently. We are under the back of the tank now, and we have most of the holes lined up. We're just gonna mark this one for drilling. Brian's lowering the tank again. We have all the holes marked for where we need to drill to permanently mount the tank. As soon as the tank comes down, we're gonna get the rest of the plumbing finished up for when the tank's back up in its final position, and then we're gonna mount the pump and get that all plumbed, wired up, put the tank up one final time. Once we get the wiring done at that point, we're done. We're just prepping the wiring here. This is gonna ground for the sending unit. We'll add a signal wire to this, which is routed from the switch, so we know what our fuel level is in the tank. We're also going to tie in this ground with the ground for the fuel pump, and then the other wire that comes back with the harness is going to be power for the fuel pump. Now that we have the tank in place, I'm at the back of the Jeep, just behind the rear axle, and we're looking forward. Right here is our line from our filler neck, so that's going to drop down and connect to the top of the tank here. Further up front, the two brass fittings you see up there, one is going to go to a breather tube that goes up to the filler neck, and the other one is going to be our outlet from the tank that goes to the fuel pump that we're adding. We have the fuel pump mounted to the cross member between both fuel tanks. All of our new fuel plumbing up there. And we mounted our switch right here on the dash. And when we click that on, you can hear the fuel pump running. I'm not gonna run it too long because I don't have fuel in that tank right now. You can see the new Long Range America tank here on the left, factory tank on the right. All right guys, well we are all wrapped up here at the shop. Brian did a great job on the install. This one did take a little bit longer because we were filming today, so Brian, thank you for helping me out with this install and taking the time today. I have a really long drive back to Phoenix, so I'm just gonna stop at a gas station. We're gonna top off both the tanks and head back. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you have questions on the Long Range America tank or the installation of it, please let me know in the comments section below. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, and we'll see you next time.